Political Action Conference over there. You're about to give a speech there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pauline. This seems to me to be your first big speech overseas, which suggests your success seems to have got international attention.
Well, it is correct. It will be my first speech overseas. I'm very pleased to have been invited to speak at it because I think it's very well attended, and this is going to be in Florida. So it's very important to me to be there on behalf of Australians, speaking on behalf of many Australians at this conference.
Well, to the news poll today, you've now got your highest ever level support in news poll, 15%. That's after you picked up 4 points while the coalition lost 4 points. Well, that obviously seems a direct transfer of coalition voters to you. Why do you think that's happened?
Andrew, I think the majority of the Australian people are fed up with the major political parties, especially Labor and also the coalition, who seem as if they don't have policies to put out there to the people. And it was proven in the last election they had no sound policies that were connecting with the Australian people. What they're not addressing is mass migration and also climate change. And climate change and the scam that's been going on is affecting many Australians, whether it's industries, manufacturing, small business, the farming sector, through to mining. So everyone's been affected by it. To head down the path of the carbon emissions is destroying our economy, and people are struggling. And we're going into poverty. Many Australians are finding the poverty, and they want change. And they want the truth, Andrew. They want the truth from their members of parliament. I've always been upfront and truthful with the people. I've given them my opinions, the policies, and the people are saying, hey, we've got to start listening and taking note of what One Nation has to offer.
You think the opposition under Susan Lee is not being truthful?
I don't think they're being upfront with the people, and I think they're sitting on the fence. They're listening to some people. They want to, gather those ones on the left side and the moderates who are pushing Susan Lee to hold this line on this net zero. It's destroying our country, pure and simple. You can actually look at it for 1% emissions. When we look at other countries and powering ahead like China and over 30% emissions, it's just ridiculous to head on this path. Get out of the Paris Agreement. Understand the damage it's doing to our country. You shouldn't see, manufacturing shutting down. Over 1,400 have actually gone insolvent in year 2023. You got 30,000 small businesses gone under. You got people who can't afford to pay their power bills, and it shouldn't be happening in a country like this, Andrew. This is due to government policies, and they are both clearly not listening to the Australian people.
Well, you should spook the National Party at least. And I saw today a report, the Nationals have now, thwarted you by themselves scrapping the target that they accepted in 2021 of net zero by 2050. They still promised to make cuts to emissions, but not quite so deep. Is this going to stop them, save them from having their supporters move to One Nation, do you think?
No, I don't think so, because they're still headed down the path. I'm saying get out of it completely. I'm saying get out of the Paris Agreement. When you've got the rest of the world who's actually the emissions that they have, Andrew, we've cut back 24% on our emissions of the 2005 emissions, whereas the rest of the world is on 14%. Why do we keep driving ourselves into the ground, destroying our economy? For what? The rest of the world has signed up to the Paris Agreement. The US pulled out of it, but we're still carrying on with this agreement, yet the other countries aren't pulling their weight, yet we are. It's just ridiculous. My concern is for the Australian people, their lifestyle, their standard of living, their way of life. I want to see our country prosper, and we cannot do it under net zero. And we're going to lose our biggest, employer of people in this country, and what gives us revenue into the country is the mining sector. They're all going to be affected by this as well. And then you've got the farming sector, the agricultural sector that exports overseas. The farmers are going under because they can't afford electricity for irrigation and other purposes to run their farms and properties. This is all due to Labor. And therefore, I'm going to keep telling people that they need to change their views and stop voting for Labor, and the Libs are no better.
Well, you've also freaked the Nationals. I mean, a lot of this crisis has come from the pressure that you put on the Nationals on net zero, They've now flipped partially, and that in turn puts pressure on Susan Lee and the Liberals. You've now got 4 senators, which is a good result from the last election. But after the next election, I think you'll have 6 or 7. The Nationals have only got 4 now. You're going to win your seat in Queensland. That's almost guaranteed. Barnaby Joyce will probably win in New South Wales. Your daughter Lee looks a good chance in Tasmania. Boy, 7 seats is going to give you real clout in the Senate after the next election if these numbers hold up.
If they do, we're still 2 years outside the election, Andrew, and I don't count my chickens before they hatch. So it's about a lot of work that we need to put into it. We've got a South Australian state election in March, and we've got the Victorian election. And I'm going to tell the people in Victoria, will be standing candidates in that state election because it is a basket case in Victoria, and the Labor Party need to go. So I will be standing candidates in Victoria so people can vote for One Nation. But it's a long road ahead of us, and like I said, I don't count my chickens before they hatch, but I am going to target to get a senator, not in just those 3 states, Andrew, every state. Every state.
That would make you a real power broker. Where is One Nation going? How come you're suddenly, after more than 20 years, in this stratospheric poll support at the moment?
Because you know what, a few weeks ago, Andrew, I said because under the leadership of Susan Lee are hopeless for the conservative politics of this nation, I thought, no more am I just going to be there as a backup for them and support them, which I have been. And I thought, no, One Nation can hold government, whether it's state or eventually, in time, in the federal arena. Or become opposition. And if I don't have faith and trust in myself that I believe that One Nation can do it to represent the people of this nation, well then why would people vote for us? I'm putting myself out there and the policies for One Nation that I believe are great and right for this country. And I'm asking people to get behind us. And I wanted to say at this time to thank the people of Australia who've got behind us with their support, have become members. So we're just powering ahead. We've had an increase of 100% membership since the election. So people are getting behind One Nation.
Pauline Hanson, thank you so much for your time.